Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Renuka bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring to you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. G20 Sustainable Finance Working Group holds roundtable discussions in Udaipur city of Rajasthan on net zero carbon development. India invited for G7 Hiroshima Summit in Japan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate new International Telecommunication Union Area Office and Innovation Center in New Delhi on Wednesday. U.S. President Joe Biden signs bill that directs federal government to declassify intelligence about origins of COVID-19. IMF approves Sri Lanka's much-awaited bailout package. Indian boxers Nikhat Zareen, Neetu Ghanghas and Manisha Maun storm into quarterfinals of Women's World Championships in New Delhi. Swiss Open Badminton Tournament begins in Basel, Switzerland. The second G20 Sustainable Finance Working Group meeting began in Udaipur, Rajasthan on Tuesday. Roundtable discussions were held on the need to do much more to achieve net zero carbon development. A workshop focusing on understanding the effectiveness of non-pricing policy levers in enabling how carbon development was also held. It was mentioned that non-price-based policy levers have performed better than expectations and are cost-effective. A discussion was also held stressing the need for development of an ecosystem for green finance. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has formally invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the G7 Hiroshima Summit after the two leaders had delegation-level talks in New Delhi on Monday. In his statement after the talks, Mr. Modi said, "This meeting aims to give a voice to the global South and Southern and strengthen the India-Japan relationship." PM Modi emphasized that this year is unique as India is holding the presidency of G20 and Japan will hold the presidency of G7. Mr. Modi said that strengthening the partnership between the two countries will play an important role in maintaining peace in the Indo-Pacific region. Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra said India and Japan signed two documents on the sidelines of the bilateral talks. The agreement include renewal of Memorandum of Cooperation in Japanese language and exchange of notes on JICA loan for 300 billion yen on Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed railway project. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the new International Telecommunication Union ITU Area Office and Innovation Center in India in New Delhi on Wednesday. ITU is the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies and its headquarters is in Geneva. India had signed a host country agreement in March last year with ITU for establishment of area office. The area office in India also envisaged to have an innovation center, making it unique among other area offices of ITU. The area office, which is fully funded by India, is located on the second floor of the Center for Development of Telematics (CDOT) building at Mehrauli in the national capital. It will serve India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Afghanistan and Iran, enhancing coordination among nations and fostering mutually beneficial economic cooperation in the region. During the program, Prime Minister will also unveil Bharat 6G Vision document and launch 6G Research and Development Testbed. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar met U.S. Secretary of Air Force Frank Condell in New Delhi on Tuesday. They discussed the global strategic scenario and new opportunities for India-U.S. defense cooperation. The United States has condemned the attack on the Indian consulate in San Francisco. The U.S. State Department said that it pledges to defend the safety and security of such facilities as well as the diplomats who work within them. U.S. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said that the vandalism done is absolutely unacceptable. He said that the State Department's Diplomatic Security Service is working with local authorities to properly investigate the case and added that the department will work on infrastructure perspective to repair the damage. The statement came after India registered a strong protest with a senior U.S. diplomat over vandalism at the Indian Consulate General in San Francisco by Khalistani extremists. Meanwhile, a statement by the Ministry of External Affairs said that India conveyed its strong protest at the vandalization of the property of the Consulate General of India in San Francisco in a meeting with the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires in New Delhi. It said that the U.S. government was reminded of its basic obligation to protect and secure the diplomatic representation. India asked the U.S. to take appropriate measures to prevent the recurrence of such incidents. Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived at Kremlin on Tuesday for formal talks with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin on matters of concern, including the Ukraine conflict. The Kremlin has said the two leaders would discuss proposals put forward by China to end more than a year of fighting in Ukraine and that the talks were likely to end with Xi and Putin signing numbers of agreement. Xi earlier also met with Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin. Beijing and Moscow's trade ties have boomed since Russia's Ukraine campaign, linking the nations more closely and raising worries in Western capitals over how far the ties will go. Xi also invited Putin to visit China this year. Xi's trip coincides with a surprise visit to Kyiv by Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, who visited Bucha, a town where Russian forces were accused of committing atrocities during their occupation last year. The Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) has said that its Global Operations Center continues to closely monitor movements of wanted criminals like Mehul Choksi in close coordination with foreign law enforcement agencies. It said that the CBI is not reliant only on Interpol channels. The agency said extradition request regarding Mehul Choksi made by India is under active consideration before authorities in Antigua and Bermuda and remains fully unimpacted by Red Notice-related communications with Interpol. Japan views Bangladesh and other areas to the south as a single economic zone, and it will seek to promote the Bay of Bengal Northeast India industrial value chain concept in cooperation with India and Bangladesh to foster the growth of the entire region, says Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. He said Northeast India, surrounded by land, still has unexploited economic potential. Delivering the 41st Sapro House lecture in New Delhi yesterday, Prime Minister Kishida outlined his vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific FOIP as a guideline perspective to be shared by the international community. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on India-Bangladesh Maitri pipeline inaugurated.
In a new high in India-Bangladesh bilateral relations, the Prime Ministers of the two countries virtually inaugurated the India-Bangladesh Maitri Friendship Pipeline on the 18th of March 2023. Cooperation in the power and energy sector has become one of the hallmarks of India-Bangladesh relations. India-Bangladesh Friendship Pipeline is the first cross-border energy pipeline between India and Bangladesh with a capacity to transport 1 million metric ton per annum of high-speed diesel to Bangladesh. The Trans-Border Energy Pipeline has been built at an estimated cost of 377 crore Indian rupees. The Bangladesh portion of the pipeline, built at a cost of approximately 285 crore rupees, has been financed by the Indian government under its grant assistance. The agreement for the construction of the pipeline was signed in 2017 to import diesel from India to Bangladesh through the pipeline. The foundation stone for the construction of this pipeline was laid by both Prime Ministers in September 2018. The pipeline will carry diesel from West Bengal Shiliguri marketing depot of the Numaligarh oil refinery to the Meghna petroleum depot in Dinajpur's Parbatipur in Bangladesh. Inaugurating the Maitri pipeline, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said a new chapter has started in the history of India-Bangladesh relations. The Prime Minister expressed his happiness that he got the opportunity to inaugurate it along with his counterpart Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Prime Minister Modi said supply through this pipeline will not only reduce the cost but also reduce the carbon footprint of this supply. The Prime Minister said in today's global situation, many developing economies are struggling to ensure their food and energy security. In this context, the Prime Minister added that this pipeline holds greater importance. The Prime Minister observed that in the last few years, under the leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh has made remarkable progress. He expressed his happiness over India's contribution to this journey of Bangladesh's development. The Prime Minister added that the Friendship Pipeline will further accelerate the growth of Bangladesh and will also be an excellent example of increasing connectivity between the two countries. He stressed on the need to keep on strengthening every pillar of our connectivity, whether it is in the field of transport, energy, electricity, or in the digital field. He said the more our connectivity increases, the more our people-to-people relations will be strengthened. The Prime Minister recalled successful cooperation in the field of electricity. He said India is supplying more than 1100 megawatt electricity to Bangladesh, and as far as energy cooperation is concerned, our petroleum trade has crossed $1 billion. The Prime Minister said it is a matter of pride that our cooperation is there in the entire value chain of hydrocarbons, whether it is upstream, midstream or downstream. He assured this cooperation will be strengthened further with the Maitri pipeline. The Prime Minister congratulated all the officials involved in the Maitri pipeline project, especially Numaligarh Refinery and Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation. He noted the auspicious coincidence that the inauguration took place just a day after the birth anniversary of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He said Bangabandhu's Sonar Bangla vision included the harmonious development and prosperity of the entire region. He added this joint project is a perfect example of his vision. Prime Minister Modi thanked Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for her constant guidance on the project and expressed his wish to continue working with her for the benefit of the people of the two countries.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. US President Joe Biden has signed a bipartisan bill that directs the federal government to declassify intelligence about the origins of COVID-19. In a statement, he said, US needs to get to the bottom of COVID-19's origins, including potential links to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The legislation, which passed both the House and Senate without dissent, cites potential links between the research that was done in the Wuhan lab and the outbreak of COVID-19, which the World Health Organization declared a pandemic on March the 11th, 2020. The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has approved Sri Lanka's bailout package under an extended fund facility. The package of $2.290 billion, special drawing rights equivalent to about $3 billion, will be available over 4 years. The Executive Board's decision will enable an immediate disbursement of $333 million. More from our Colombo correspondent.
With IMF's approval of the extended fund facility, Sri Lanka will be hoping to turn around its economy, which has been hit by forex shortages. Sri Lanka had entered into a staff-level agreement with the IMF in September last year and had been making efforts to obtain the approval of the bailout. India's generous assistance during the crisis and proactive efforts in the form of financing assurances earlier this year have been notable in the island nation's path to recovery. At the same time, Sri Lanka has taken several tough measures, including cutting subsidies and raising of taxes, which have been met with considerable protest from trade unions. For All India Radio News, Ahmed Moin Faruqi from Colombo.
The French government has survived a vote of no confidence which was triggered when it forced through an increase in the pension age to 64. It sparked new anti-government protests in Paris, where 101 people were arrested after standoffs with police. The vote, tabled by centrist MPs, had 278 votes in favour, falling short of the 287 votes needed. A second no-confidence motion, tabled by Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally Party, also did not pass. Thailand's King Vajiralongkorn has dissolved the parliament, paving the way for a general election in early May. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha's new conservative royalist party faces a strong challenge from the Pheu Thai party, led by exiled former PM Thaksin Shinawatра's daughter, Thai Thongthapran. Mr. Prayut, who led a 2014 coup against the last pro-Thaksin government, has trailed in opinion polls for months. Although the election date has not been set, but as per the constitution, it must be held within 60 days of dissolution. India's Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav has released 14 guidelines to address human-wildlife conflict. For details, we have a desk report.
The guidelines aim to facilitate a common understanding among key stakeholders on what constitutes effective and efficient mitigation of human-wildlife conflict in India. These are advisory in nature and will facilitate in further development of site-specific human-wildlife conflict mitigation measures. These guidelines are developed under the Indo-German Cooperation Project on Human-Wildlife Conflict Mitigation. There are 10 species-specific guidelines which include guidelines for mitigating human elephant, human leopard, human snake, and human crocodile conflict. There are 4 guidelines on cross-cutting issues. These include guidelines for cooperation between forest and media sector and addressing health emergencies and potential health risks arising out of human-wildlife conflict situations. Swati Rakheja, World News.
INS Sujata, a ship based at Southern Naval Command Kochi, visited Port Maputo, Mozambique as part of overseas deployment from 19th to 20th of this month. The ship was received by Captain Nitin Kapoor, DA Pretoria, Commandant NRN Sivababu, Coast Guard Afloat Support Team, and Captain Florentino Jose Narciso from Mozambican Navy amidst the fanfare of Mozambican Navy band and traditional dance performances at the jetty. The Ministry of Defence said that about 40 personnel of the Mozambican Navy visited the ship for cross-deck training, which included walk-around of training facilities, briefing about diving ops, training on BPSS and light weapons, visual communication, and maintenance of machinery and hygiene on board. It said various other activities such as combined morning yoga session, soccer match were organized between the personnel of both the navies. The ministry said that this visit further enhanced the mutual cooperation and bilateral ties between the two navies. World Down Syndrome Day, WDSD, is observed every year on 21st of March. It is a global campaign which is observed annually to spread awareness about Down syndrome. The day helps to educate the people on what Down syndrome is and how to encourage those with Down syndrome to participate in daily activities so they can live a full life and play a vital role in their community. On the occasion, National Gallery of Modern Art NGMA is organizing a painting and pottery workshop on Tuesday. Talking to AIR, NGMA Director Temsonaro Tripathi briefed about the workshop.
The day helps educate the public about Down syndrome and to encourage people with Down syndrome to participate in daily activities so that they can live a full life and play a vital role in the community life. The World Down Syndrome Day is being officially observed by the United Nations since 2012. March 21 was selected to signify the uniqueness of the triplication of the 21st chromosome, which causes the Down syndrome. This disorder affects nearly 6,000 babies at birth every year. It is usually associated with physical growth delays, mild to moderate intellectual disability, and characteristic facial features. The average IQ of a young adult with Down syndrome is 50, equivalent to the mental ability of an 8 or 9-year-old child. Anita Anand for World News, AIR.
WDSD is officially observed by the United Nations since 2012. Navroz, or the Parsi New Year, is being celebrated on 21st of March. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended his greetings on the occasion of Navroz. In a tweet, the Prime Minister also prayed for everyone's happiness and good health. He wished that the year ahead brings greater prosperity and further the spirit of togetherness in the society. The 6th pitching session of the second season of Elevate concluded in Dubai on Tuesday. The event saw the participation of 6 startups in India and an unprecedented registration of 180 investors. The 6 startups which participated in the Elevate session were winners of National Startup Awards 2023. This edition of Elevate saw Filmboard Movie Technologies Incorporation, Transcender Services Private Limited, Cogos Technologies Private Limited, Change Jar Technologies Private Limited, Maker in Me Technologies Private Limited, Revamp Motor Private Limited, pitching their innovative ideas in front of plausible investors looking for additional rounds of funding. The key domestic share markets on Tuesday posted gains of more than 0.5%. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange closed above the 58,000 mark, while the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange ended above the 17,100 level. Both indices rose amid positive global cues. A report from the Business Desk.
The Sensex climbed 446 points or 0.77% to finish at 58,075. The Nifty surged 119 points or 0.7% to settle at 17,108. In Asian markets, Hong Kong's Hang Seng surged 1.3% and Singapore's Straits Times rose 1.1%. China's Shanghai Composite gained 0.6% and South Korea's Kospi added 0.4%. While Japan's Nikkei 225 was closed due to holiday. European shares were also up in intraday trade. Oil rose, recovering from a 15-month low hit in the previous session. The crude added as the rescue of Credit Suisse eased worries about global banking sector risks that could hit economic growth and fuel demand. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at around $73.95 per barrel. Back home, gold price at Multi-Commodity Exchange for April contracts was trading at around 59,140 rupees per 10 gram. Silver was trading at around 68,890 rupees per kilogram for May contract. Anubha Rohabki for World News, All India Radio.
Indian boxers Nikhat Zareen, Neetu Ghangas and Manisha Maun have stormed into the quarterfinals of the Women's World Championship in New Delhi. Nikhat in 50 kg, Neetu in 48 kg and Manisha in 57 kg categories recorded victories in the first session to advance to the quarterfinals of the tournament at the Indira Gandhi Sports Complex on Tuesday. Defending champion Nikhat defeated Mexican pugilist Fatima Herrera comfortably by unanimous decision. She will face Thai boxer Chutamat Rakshat in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. 2022 Commonwealth Games champion Neetu defeated Tajikistan's Sumaya Kosimova, while Manisha registered a victory over Turkey's Noor Turhan. Neetu will face Japan's Madoka Wada, while Manisha will take on French pugilist Amina Zidani in the quarterfinals. The 2023 Swiss Open Badminton Tournament has started in Basel, Switzerland. The tournament will be played till 26th of this month. Indian shuttler PV Sindhu will begin her campaign on Wednesday against local wildcard Zinjira Stevelman. In men's singles on Wednesday, H.S. Pranoy will face China's Shi Yu Chi in his opening round fixture, while Lakshya Sen will take on Lee Chok Yi of Hong Kong, and former silver medalist Kidambi Shrikant will be up against China's Weng Hong Yang in their first round matches. In Women's Premier League cricket, Mumbai Indians MI defeated Royal Challengers Bangalore RCB by 4 wickets at the Dr. D.Y. Patil Sports Academy, Navi Mumbai. MI won the toss and put RCB to bat. RCB scored 125 for 9 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs, and in reply, MI achieved the target while 21 balls remaining. In another match, Delhi Capitals defeated UP Warriors by 5 wickets at Brabant Stadium in Mumbai. Delhi surpassed the target of 139 runs by scoring 142 for 5 wickets in just 17.5 overs. The International Shooting Sports Federation ISSF World Cup Shooting Championship was inaugurated on Tuesday in Bhopal, the capital of Madhya Pradesh. Around 200 shooters from 30 countries are participating in the World Shooting Championship. The matches for the medals will start on Wednesday. This is the first ever Shooting World Cup to be held outside New Delhi in the country. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan inaugurated this championship at Kushbao Thakre International Convention Centre in Bhopal. ISSF President Luciano Rossi was the guest of honour at the event. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has said there is incredible transformation and digitalization happening across sectors. He highlighted that there cannot be a more auspicious and exciting time in the history of the world to work on harnessing the power of youth. He was speaking at FICCI Global Young Leaders Summit in Delhi. Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian writes, US calls conditions in Rwanda's detention centers harsh to life-threatening. The Guardian writes, Xi invites Putin to China and show of support as Moscow talks continue. The Washington Post writes, UK scientists plead for return of rare shark's head, promise no judging. The Globe and Mail reports, rare 7-judge Supreme Court hearing begins for pivotal federalism case. The Globe and Mail reports Canada's inflation rate eases by most since early in the pandemic, but grocery costs still rising. The Financial Times writes Janet Yellen to signal further U.S. support to deposits at smaller banks. South China Morning Post says Singapore's Lee family feud, Lee Hsien Yang wife must choose between fugitive status and returning home to clear name, minister says. And in some more news, government has said that as per the India State of Forest report, ISFR 2011 and 2021 reports, the forest cover of Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad and Mumbai has increased over a period of 10 years. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha, Minister of State for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Ashwini Kumar Chaubey said, the Forest Survey of India, FSI Dehradun, an organization under the ministry, carries out the assessment of forest cover of the country biennially since 1987, and the findings are published in ISFR. He said the FSI has published a study for the first time on the decadal change in forest cover in 7 major megacities between ISFR 2011 and ISFR 2021. The minister said, as per the study, there is an increase in forest cover in some megacities, while there is a decrease in forest cover in few other cities. He said, overall, there is an increase of 68 square kilometers in the forest cover of 7 major mega cities between ISFR 2011 to ISFR 2021. Mr. Chaubey said the increase in forest cover may be attributed to conservation measures, afforestation activities, enhanced protection measures in plantation, as well as in traditional forest areas, expansion of tree outside forest. He said his ministry has not undertaken any study regarding correlation between reduction of forest and increase in pollution. The second consultative meeting on defence cooperation between India and Jordan was held in New Delhi. The two countries discussed a range of issues including military training and courses, cybersecurity, military exercises, military medicine and capacity building in various areas to enhance defence engagements. Both the sides also exchanged their respective capabilities in defence industry and research and development for forging collaborations in mutually beneficial areas. The Jordanian delegation also interacted with the representatives of the defence industry. And now, a quick look at the headlines once again. G20 Sustainable Finance Working Group holds roundtable discussions in Udaipur city of Rajasthan on net zero carbon development. India invited for G7 Hiroshima Summit in Japan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate new International Telecommunication Union Area Office and Innovation Center in New Delhi on Wednesday. US President Joe Biden signs bill that directs federal government to declassify intelligence about origins of COVID-19. IMF approves Sri Lanka's much-awaited bailout package. Indian boxers Nikhat Zareen, Neetu Gangas and Manisha Maun storm into quarterfinals of Women's World Championships in New Delhi. Swiss Open Badminton Tournament begins in Basel, Switzerland. And now before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan Vaishnavajan by artists from Japan on their Independence Day.
Vaishnavajan
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.